Ideals like peace, freedom, and justice, they get packed up, but we can all go home. Well, I'm not going home. I'm gonna get on my boat, and I'm going upriver, and I'm going to kick that son of a bitch bison's ass so hard that the next bison wannabe is gonna feel it. Now, who wants to go home? And who wants to go with me?
To the Rated G for Gamers podcast, episode 225. Before we start the show, we want to thank all of our wonderful fans who have supported us. And if you want to show support for Rated G, you can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/RatedG4Gamers. For as little as $1, you can help us create more content and put stuff out there for you guys to listen to view and watch. You can also find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Rated G for Gamers. And finally, please rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify. We appreciate all the love. I'm your host, Dave Rotino, and this is my co-host, Dan. I could probably use a dip in the pool today. Robinson.
What's going on, man?
It's a hot one. It's a hot one out there.
It's really hot outside.
Yesterday
Man.
and today, back to back. I think they both hit 90, or it certainly felt like it.
Well, I'm pulling a Dave because we know. We know in the past that you've only put in your AC 4 times, and 3 of those times because I came over.
Yes, I have the central air, but I never use it because that shit's expensive.
It is. So I'm trying to hold out as long as I can.
Oh, good man.
Personally.
Good man. It's tough.
I'm just gonna go to the beach every weekend. That's it.
Right? Oh, dip in that nice cool water, right? It's a good mid high 60s. Ooh. That feels good about now. That feels good.
So this is sort of like the Independence Day show, right?
That's right. That's right.
Right? Like this is 4th of July weekend, and we're actually recording just a little bit early. So instead of me asking you how was your weekend, I'm gonna ask you, do you have any weekend plans?
I do not have any weekend plans. I did my social outing for the month, maybe, or for the week.
You have your social outings for the month. You just take a walk in a park with your friend.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be careful. You got to space it out. You got to quarantine after you see a bunch of people. But no. I was hanging out with my other friend Dave, who I haven't seen since the quarantine started. So
Dave and Daver. Dave and Dave.
There you go. Yeah. Dave and Dave.
He's more of a Dave than you.
I don't know. I don't know about that. He collects too.
He's Davier than you.
He collects too, but he's got more of a curated small collection. A lot of systems, a handful of games, but he's into it just as much as we are. So I thought that was kind of cool. We ended up going down to Stone Street down in the financial district, which for people who don't know is a very popular bar row, right? It's cobblestone streets. It goes way back to the birth of America, right? 1770, whatever. And
for those you don't know, we're in New York.
Well, there you go. Also, let's go ahead and pull it back a little bit. We were in New York, in the U.S., all right? Financial district, typically there's not much down there, right? It's just a bunch of day trading and business suits and suit and ties and all that. But Stone Street is awesome. There's a bunch of bars and they have outdoor seating. That's really what you want to do. They got all the string lights up, and you can just drink and eat and whatever. And they had a social distancing style situation. So
nice.
They had the glass partitions up, and they wouldn't let people inside, but you could drink outside. So
nice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm gonna do anything for the 4th proper. Probably kind of probably kind of work on some internal stuff, right? You know, clean up the apartment a little bit. Do you have any plans? I feel like you got something.
Well, Macy's is doing sort of like 5-minute fireworks shows all around New York.
Pop-up fireworks, right? Yeah.
Just so they don't have like big crowds coming together. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm probably just gonna go to the beach. I've been going to the beach, and I mean, I talked about this last show. I went to the beach with people, semi-social distancing, right? Because you know, after Sandy, at least, and I go to Rockaway Beach, and it's a lot of different beaches in Rockaway. It's not just one particular. It's like a lot of different parts in Far Rockaway, like Rockaway Park, in Far Rockaway, which is the other side, or Long Beach, which is like a bridge across from there, or even Coney Island, right? But you know, because of Sandy screwed up everything, they sort of have like these big mountains of sand and grass, which take up a lot of space.
Yep.
So, you know, as a partition, just in case another storm ever hit.
Oh, right.
So,
right.
It's kind of hard. You know, you're not really 6 feet away, but you are far enough away, and people are wearing masks, right? Well, at least 50% of the people are wearing masks, but we are outside, and people are just jumping in the water.
Right.
So I think I'm just going to stick to going to the beach for now. Actually, me and my uncle drove up to Bayside in Queens, and it's like a popular strip on Bell Boulevard, where, you know, I ordered sandwiches to go from the sandwich place, and you can't park anywhere because the restaurants are using sort of the street as an extension of like their outside dining.
Right. Places that didn't necessarily have the outdoor license are like, yeah, you can do it for now.
So it was no one social distancing. Barely 50-50 wearing a mask, right? I saw a lot of masks, but a lot of people not wearing masks because they probably were drunk. But it was 90-something degrees outside, and people wanted to get out. They were clamoring to get out. So I'm probably just gonna go to the beach.
Okay,
well, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
So, all right, let's get into some quick takes real quick, because I thought this was cool and interesting, and this is something that I'm not really into comics anymore, but I would be willing to get in, you know, to buy the next issue if it's interesting. So Marvel Comics acquired the rights to put in Alien and Predator in their comic books, which kind of makes sense because the movie rights of Alien and Predator Fox had, and now Disney owns Fox and Disney owns Marvel. So it kind of just makes sense.
Yeah, Jesus. Disney's becoming like the movie studio.
Is just Disney versus WB.
Yeah, right.
Marvel versus DC.
Like, I like it in the fact that, you know, it's easy for them to just like put a bunch of people in a movie and then kick it out the door, right? But I also don't like it in the fact that like they control everything. It's a little scary. I don't know. It's a little scary.
Well, I could have sworn, wasn't it? Listen, if you just watch The Simpsons, you're gonna know what's happening in the future.
Oh my God!
Right?
Yeah,
because they predicted everything. But didn't like The Simpsons say like, you know, Disney's gonna, you know, there's only gonna be 2 companies in the world, Disney and Amazon or something?
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right. But that's
something
like,
along those lines.
I'm super interested to see what they do with this. All right.
Well, Dark Horse Comics originally published the original Alien and Predator comic stories back in 88 and 89.
Oh yeah.
And that exclusivity deal, I think, is up in 2020, and now the rights go to Marvel. So
they had a good run.
They had a good run. 22 years, right?
Yeah, not bad.
So Dave, I got a question for you. What MCU character would you like to see in an Alien versus Predator versus you pick MCU character, insert here comic? What would you like to see?
Ooh, that is a very good question. Right?
Putting you on the spot.
You got your heavy hitters like, you know, Tony Stark and Bruce Banner and Wolverine, right? You know, you got like your now A-list stars, right? You know, you got your Colossus, your Iceman. I'd like to see I'd like to see like Bishop maybe, or possibly Silver Samurai, right?
Wow, those are like sort of like sleeper picks right there.
Well, I mean,
A little lesser known.
How many Iron Man movies have we got? How many Wolverine movies have we got? We got a ton of them, right? And they've done the team up thing and the whatever. I want to see something different. Expand out the universe. Let's get some of those lesser known people in there.
Well, I think you're going for. I mean, Bishop is more of like a time traveler, so I can see him sort of in space because I think that's where you're going with it, especially like the Silver Samurai. The samurai could be from the fighting aspect, the fighting off like Alien. Right. I see you're taking more of a, and I'm going down that route too.
Okay.
The sort of like the realistic approach, right? You're not putting like Cyclops who could just probably blast an alien in half.
Yeah, right. He's got that giant energy laser.
So I'm going to take it semi-realistic as well because this, I think, could be a live-action movie as well. I'm going to go Wolverine because Wolverine is all about brawling and battling and him versus the Predator with the aliens in the mix, right? Especially if there are like 1,000 aliens that Wolverine could just like tear apart. Right. As like throwaway, like a little like henchman, right? You're just going to kill.
Oh, sure. And, yeah. Just like the Sentinels, right? You know,
yeah. And if they throw acid on him, he can heal. So he's not going to die.
This is true.
So I would love to see, you know, the epic battle between Predator versus Wolverine with just like aliens in the mix somewhere.
I can see that. I can see that battle. I can see it in my head right now.
And then at the end, Wolverine doesn't know it, but what was that, face hugger? He got on him. He pulled it off, destroyed it. But an alien Wolverine's going to bust out of his stomach and then he's going to heal. And he's going to have to face like his baby.
Oh, shit. Damn. You definitely thought about this a little bit.
I went a little deep for you. I know.
Yeah, right. Oh, that's crazy. That's great. Well, you know, 2021, the possibilities are endless.
Well, in a comic, you can do anything, right? As a live-action movie, maybe not so much, but that would be a cool comic. I could see that.
Right.
And let's just do a follow-up also on a story we did last week, Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. I know Dave's super excited about this game coming out because it's one of his favorite franchises, right up there with Final Fantasy, Crash Bandicoot, and Fable.
We have to add a new entry to the Dave scale just to encapsulate
beyond trash.
Yeah, it goes the other way. Oh, yeah. So
last week we talked about no microtransactions. They will have microtransactions in the game,
right?
But the devs have come out recently and said that there will be no microtransactions in the game. Oh. But little do the devs know that 3 months after the game's been released, Activision would probably add microtransactions into the game, just like they did with Battlefront 2, right?
Oh God, yeah. I thought they had those in the beginning. I guess not.
They had it in the beginning. They took it back and then they added it. Right, and it was another game that was released. I forgot what game that was. It was released.
Battlefront 2, right? Or is that the one you're talking about? Battlefield or Battlefront?
No, it was Battlefront 2.
That's right. That's right.
But it was another.
But
it was another game. I think maybe I can't think of it. It was another game that came out. It got good reviews, and then he added microtransactions to it. It could have been 2K as well. Could have been a 2K game.
Maybe like one of the basketball games. They usually have those in.
Maybe like Underground or something or 2K. I totally forgot which game it was, but I know there was a game that came out, got good reviews, and then 3 months later they added microtransactions, and everybody was like, "Oh my god!"
I mean, the thing about it is, microtransactions are great for the publisher. The devs probably don't really want them in there. Right, unless you can do them in a way that doesn't make the fans angry, right? Because nobody, from a fan's viewpoint, nobody likes microtransactions. They want to pay $60 for their game. They want to get the whole entire game, and they don't want day one DLC, and they don't want microtransactions with the online game or even the single player game, which I think is crazy. So to add them in later on, if they do, is going to be weird. I wonder what they're going to be for.
Well, it's gonna be two things. It's gonna be, hey, I know. What do you collect in Crash Bandicoot? It's like peaches, or it's like apples? A little fruit, or gems.
Like apples.
Yeah, or apples. It's like, hey, we know you have to grind to get 3,000 apples so you can become Super Crash, right? And it helps you get through difficult levels. Right. How about this? $3.99. We'll give you 1,000 apples, right?
Oh,
so
my God. Oh.
It'll help you get through.
I'm not.
Or hey, we know now this game is coming out on the Switch 3 months later because it was only announced for PS4 and Xbox One.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you want to play as Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, or Toad, it's $5.99. And now if you have it on Xbox One, you play as Master Chief and you can play as Kratos or Ellie from The Last of Us on the PS4 version. Boom.
Yeah, like I'll tell you what though. I don't mind the microtransactions if they are inconsequential, like the things you just said, right? The
last things I said, but
well,
you wouldn't want to buy 1,000 apples. You wouldn't want to buy 1,000 apples.
See,
for
that I'm not about, because then it's like just like a pay to win situation, right? You're turning into a mobile game. Like I can't get behind that. And that obviously affects the single player game. I talked about this before, right? Because if you're going to put in microtransactions, especially in the single player campaign, you got to make it appealing to the person, right? And if you're saying like there's 3,000 apples in the game or the whatever, right? And you have to grind to get those apples to become like, I guess Super Crash is what you said, right? They're gonna make it extremely hard to get those apples in the regular game, right? Or they're gonna artificially inflate it to 30,000 apples so that buying the, microtransaction, the whatever pack, the Apple pack or whatever it is enticing, right? You're like, well, this is like a bit of a grind, right? So if they didn't have that, maybe it would be 300 or 3,000 apples, right? And it's an untainted experience, right? Because if it's easy to grind, like, why would you buy the microtransactions? And the devs spent all that time working on it, so
All right, so that makes you angry.
It does. It grinds my gears, as they say.
Well, you know what grinds my gears? Mm-hmm. And I'm bringing back a gamer grief.
Oh boy!
From a couple episodes ago.
You've had a while.
GameStop.
Mm-hmm.
I still have my GameStop problem. My online account. I am a pro member. I use my points. 15,000 points. Mind you, 15,000 points to be a pro member. I did that back in May. We are now in July. It still shows that my membership expired in June. I've talked to 2 different people at GameStop who said, "Oh, yeah, this is a mistake. We're going to try to fix this."
Right.
Still, I go online, not fixed. I email GameStop, no response.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, it's like, do I just give up on the 15,000 points? No. I have 60,000 points left. I can easily call and tell them to take another 15,000 and, upgrade my membership. No cost to me, and I could still get Game Inform magazine, which I enjoy every month. But I'm on the principle of the matter. Their online infrastructure sucks. And on principle, I'm angry. I'm just angry. Mm-hmm. Like, this is stupid. I've called twice. This should have been rectified weeks ago.
Yeah, no, so. I'm like 100% with you. They are offering a service. They cannot make good on their services offered, right? You're trying to render something from them with points. You're paying for this subscription thing. You have every right to be angry. I do think though it's probably the least important thing on their mind. They're just trying to figure out how to keep these stores open and how to stay afloat right now. Sadly. So.
Well, I'm gonna call back. I'm gonna call back. Mm-hmm. In a couple of days and ask for a manager, all right? Because I know right now everyone's closed. It's 4th of July weekend coming. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna call them at some point next week and try to talk to a manager this time, because this is ridiculous. This is honestly ridiculous. Like, somebody needs to do something. I'm sorry. Just on the principle of the matter, I don't want to lose 15,000 points, even though I can easily use. Because I have 60,000 points, which I don't use anything. I don't use it for anything. It just sits there and accumulates for the last, 20 years.
Yeah.
Right. So, Dave, talk to me. Tell me something good to take my mind off GameStop. Did you get any good pickups this week?
I did. I can definitely ease your pain a little bit, Dan. I did. I got 2 pickups. One of them today. One was a street pickup, mind you. Somebody was throwing.
He literally picked it up.
I did. I picked it up off the street. I braved the zombie apocalypse and picked it up. I washed my hands when I got home, sure, but
you didn't lick it or anything. So
well, no, I was tempted to, but I said, you know what?
Okay, good.
I don't want to become a zombie. Somebody was throwing out the Oregon Trail card game right? Not the old school computer game, but they made a like card game or whatever where you get dysentery and you have to fork the river and make it through the whatever trail. And I was like, why is someone throwing this out? This is a perfectly good game. I haven't checked the insides. It feels like all the cards are in there though, so very excited about that. And then also, I picked up Tetris 2 for the Game Boy. All right, in my quest to get every Tetris game, every reasonably priced Tetris game, I managed to get the Game Boy version. I think last week I talked about the Super Nintendo version that I got. So I now have the Game Boy version of Tetris 2. It is complete. It is CIB. The box is very nice. I got the game and the manual inside, so very happy about that. Okay. Not too many pickups, but they're quality pickups, Dan, and that's what matters.
Well, when you talk about quality pickup, I got a Super Nintendo wireless controller that works for the Switch on Nintendo's online store. So
if they're back in stock.
They're back in stock. So if you are a member of Nintendo Online, you are able to buy the NES Joy-Cons, which are back in stock as well, and the SNES wireless controller. I only bought one, so I really wanted to buy another one.
Right.
And it either wasn't in stock or they weren't shipping. So it's bad if you're looking to get an SNES controller, wireless controller for the Switch, or NES Joy-Cons, they are back in stock, at least in the US. So I would suggest picking it up. It's only $29.99 with $5 shipping and tax, $38. So
not bad. I may have to get one.
Dave, as we always try to start the show, but epically fail. What have you been playing?
Ooh, what have I been playing? Well, Dan, I am well into 100%ing Spider-Man for the PlayStation 4. I was playing it just before we got on the mics, and I'm like 65, 70%, 100% to 100% completion. Not just the main story, but all the extra stuff. So I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. The map is getting filled out. The landmarks are getting snapshotted. Right? All the little challenges. I'm doing it all. Such a good game. Very, very, very happy with it. I think the length is just right because like I'm doing everything else to like just because I want to because it's just fun swinging around the city. If I were to just do like the story missions, I'd be done with the game by now, 100%. Like So I like that it has a good even pace to it. It's not that difficult. Like, yeah, man. So
okay.
How about you?
Well, happy to know, after 20 and a half hours, I beat The Last of Us Part 2.
Nice. So, what did you think, without spoilers, what did you think of the game?
This is my non-spoiler thoughts. Okay? I stand by what we said last show as far as half game of the year. It's still my number 2 behind Final Fantasy VII. But I thought this game was amazing. Definitely amazing. I don't think it was padded out per se. There was some sections that could have been shorter, right? But it wasn't padded out. I think without spoiling, and I'm trying to be as vague as I can because I know you want to play it eventually.
I'm gonna get to it. Yeah, I'm gonna go through 1 and 2, but yeah,
it's like a 6 to 7 hour mark after like the first 12, 13 hours. It's like a 6-7 hour mark where that could have been like a separate game. That could have been like DLC, like a standalone DLC.
Yeah, so it's
like
got
Uncharted like an Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Right. It's got a little fat on the piece of steak.
Well, it's not that it's fat, and again, I'm trying to be as vague as possible.
It's fine.
Right? It's not fat. It's meat, but it's I ordered a steak dinner and I got a T-bone steak and a turkey leg.
Yeah, so
right?
it's not as good as the main course.
No. It's still good. It's still good. Oh man, it's so hard to talk about it without spoiling it. And that 7-hour chunk is solid, and I like it. Okay. Story-wise, it could have just been its own thing, and it would have been sort of like, here's your main story that's 14, 15 hours, right?
Right.
and I would have loved it. I would have been like, oh my God, this is crazy, right? Like, this is great. Or this is great, not crazy. And then they could have, on a PS5, maybe, had this standalone, this standalone sort of expansion that they could have charged money for, right? $29.99 or something like that. Could have got an extra $30 out of us.
Right. That
was about 7 hours long and told a different perspective, and you would have been like, oh shit, right? So this was I would say The Last of Us Part 2 is an emotional roller coaster. And it really makes you think about revenge and holding hate in your heart and letting hate motivate you and letting revenge motivate you. Okay. Right. I do disagree with the ending a little bit, kind of. So I get that part, but just because I disagree with a lot of endings, right? So just because I disagree with the ending doesn't take away from the game. The game was still phenomenal. It was an amazing game. I loved it.
Well,
20 hours long.
Did the ending?
Definitely 20 hours long.
Did the ending make sense? Like,
yes,
is believable and all that.
No. It made sense, believable, but it's not something I would do. It's not something I don't think I would do personally.
Oh, given that particular choice, you would go a different way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, listen, I will never be in that position.
Oh, I certainly hope not, because that game is pretty dire. So, yeah.
But I thought the game was phenomenal. I loved it. Definitely go out. Definitely, this is a game. Listen, just spend the $60 and buy it, because lengthwise, it's a long game, right. And story wise, you're gonna be taken for an emotional roller coaster. So. I've been playing, so I beat that. I've been playing as Min Min on Super Smash Brothers Ultimate. I bought the second fighter pack for $29.99. I thought I bought that already. Apparently I didn't, so I bought that.
Okay.
So the next 6 fighters or next 5 fighters after Min Min, they'll just automatically download. So she controls really well. I like playing with her. Right now, I think Link, Min Min, and Joker are my favorite characters to play with.
Nice.
So nice. And I've also been playing Astral Chain. I had restarted the game. My save is about 7 hours. My original save is about 7 hours. So right now I'm about 4.5 hours. Yep. So I'm almost to where I originally did my original save, but the game is 13 hours long. So it's about halfway through the game. So hopefully I'll get a chance to beat that the next 2 weeks. My goal is to beat it before Ghost of Tsushima,
right? Which
comes out July 17th,
right?
Because I'm gonna have to pop in Paper Mario.
Oh yeah. It's all these great games are just on the horizon.
On the horizon. So on that note, why don't we take a break? When we come back, we get into the top gaming news of last week.
This is Justin from the Lit Gaming Arena podcast, and you're listening to Rated G for Gamers.
And we're back. Let's get into the top gaming news of last week. We have to start our lead story. And we talked about this before. EVO. Obviously, they can't really do EVO in Las Vegas because of COVID. Everything is shut down. So they decided to do EVO Online. But apparently that's been canceled because the CEO, now former CEO of EVO, Joey Cuellar. I hope I said his name right. Cuellar.
Cuellar. He's gone. He's out.
He's out. He's gone. They pulled the plug on him after accusations of him paying underage girls to jump in to strip to the underwear and jump in the pool. All right. So companies actually started to pull out. I mean, NetherRealm Studios sort of pulled Mortal Kombat 11. Capcom pulled their games. Nintendo as well. So that was big. So now there won't be any EVO, even online. Even though technically EVO Online was sort of more expedition. They weren't going to actually crown a champion or anything like that.
It was just all for funsies, but they kind of wanted to have it as an EVO branded thing. I can only imagine that the events went down of the allegations, the pullout from the companies, and then Joey admitting and then apologizing about the situation, and then being ousted after that. I would assume the events went down that way. This sucks. This is terrible. We talked about it last week with the guy from Ubisoft, right? There's been some talk with Dr. Disrespect. We don't know where that's going to land. That's still very hazy right now. But
no, the Dr. Disrespect I think is totally different. I mean, we didn't talk about Dr. Disrespect because
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I'm just saying that. There's some.
Well, no. The correlation, the new development, Dr. Disrespect, is that they were paying him $25 million in an exclusive deal not to go to Mixer, but then Mixer shut down, and they were trying to get out of. They're trying to get out of that deal by just banning him. That is the new going theory right now.
That's
with,
weird.
Dr. Disrespect.
That's weird. I mean, we'll see where that goes because there's been a ton of weird conspiracy theories on like what actually happened around it because no one really knows. Everyone's just kind of shooting in the dark right now. So, but I mean, I was just I only wanted to bring that up. It's just like there's a lot of stuff coming to light right now. We talked about the riot stuff before, and that on top of the COVID thing, that on top of the the tension in America and around the world, the race relations and all that stuff. It's just not a good time. Right? It's never good to have a story like this EVO thing come out, but especially now, it's a bad time. That's all.
So, well, I mean, it really sucks for all the people who, attend and participate in EVO, right?
Yeah.
Like, at least they would have had something to do, and we would have something to watch, online. But that kind of sucks that that he had to do something so stupid. Well, it's still alleged, even though he apologized. But this happened. It is unfortunate that this happened. That this event had to be canceled. So,
right. I mean, you really don't apologize for something you didn't do, right? Unless you're not in the right state of mind. So,
well, all right. But let's stick to the good news, right? E3 is canceled, but we have events all summer long, and Summer Games Fest. Jeff Keighley's sort of baby, his replacement for E3, which again, I like the idea, but we don't have any, nothing's really scheduled. It just pop out of nowhere where it's like, all right, Tuesday we're gonna have some announcements. Tune in, right? Mm-hmm. So there's no real schedule. It just pops in.
Well, isn't that the same with Sony and Microsoft? Like we're like, we don't know when the stuff's gonna come out, and then we get rumors, and then they're like, all right, Tuesday.
Yeah, I don't like that either. That's the point. I don't like any of that. I want E3. Then we know
scheduled events on the docket. Yeah,
we know that we're gonna get something for like 5 days straight.
Right.
So. But apparently Summer Games Fest in July will bring over 60 demos to the Xbox One, right? They're saying it's going to be somewhere between 75 and 100 game demos.
Mm-hmm.
So that is intense. That's a lot. That's a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, I figured someone would have done this, right? Because since we don't have these events, since we don't have the hands-on with them, right? Like even it's the same for the journalists. Journalists don't get hands on with these games, so they have to kind of find a way to get them out to them. I think this is great. I'm definitely going to jump into these demos. It looks like there's a lot of really cool stuff in here.
Well, I would say, we're going to get a demo. I mean, these are all. We don't know if these demos are going to be on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. As of right now, it's just Xbox One. Mm-hmm. I would think that this would coincide with maybe Xbox's July showcase, which I'm excited for because I know they're going to bring it after after Sony brought it with their showcase last month.
Yeah, they were riding high all year, and then Sony comes out and says, "You want games? No, we really got games."
So, I want to know. I mean, are we going to get a Halo Infinite demo? I mean, it is going to be playable on the Xbox One.
Right. That would be epic. That I highly doubt. That's probably going to be behind closed doors and all that. But that would be badass. You know, they did it with Halo 3. You know, if you bought Crackdown, you got a Halo 3 online demo, and you could play
that's right. I forgot about that.
1 level or 2 levels or whatever it is. And it was great.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Wow.
Yeah. So they have done it before.
Well, you want to hear the story of how I even bought Halo 3?
Sure.
I left a job interview. I'll never forget this. I left a job interview, and I was so confident I was going to get that job. I like, before I hopped on a train to come home, I went straight to GameStop to get Halo 3.
Nice.
That's how I remember Halo 3. I was just like, I got this job. I can afford to buy Halo.
Yeah, right. You treat yourself a little bit. Well,
again, I wasn't like a hardcore gamer or anything. I bought a game like once a year.
Sure. Oh my god. Well, that's certainly changed. You buy a game once a week at least.
Probably once a day.
Yeah.
At this point.
Well, did you get the job?
I did get the job. I didn't like the job. I actually left that job after a month when I realized what how morale was and how they treat people.
Right.
And I was lucky enough to find a job. Because I've been at this job for a long time, almost a decade.
Right.
And I found this job shortly afterwards. So, but all right, let's stick with Xbox. We know I believe Xbox is going to bring it for the Xbox Series X games in this month. When this month, I don't know, and that's the part that's driving me crazy. Right. I'm going to say maybe a week, 2 weeks in, right? So another 2 weeks, we'll have a July showcase or Inside Xbox where they're going to show nothing but games.
Right. Well, I mean, I think they kind of have to, yeah.
But the long-awaited, the big rumor is the Xbox Series S or Project Lockhart, which is sort of the all-digital version. They will not show that at this showcase, and the sort of the rumors and reports are that there will be a showcase in August for the Series S, and that the Series S won't look like a chopped down version of the Series X. It won't be a GameCube size box. That it will resemble, and say this 10 times fast, the Xbox Series S will resemble the Xbox One S. Right?
Oh, okay.
Or the all digital edition.
Right.
Xbox One.
Right. I feel like it's a little bit weird, but like thinking about it, I feel like they're doing that because they either have a lot of like molds made of the other One S, and they're just like, we can shove Series S components in here. It's gonna be fine. We'll make it work. And they probably don't have to retool their production lines that much. So they're just they're trying to make it easy for the transition. Right.
Well, they're gonna say, hey, here's an Xbox One X, Xbox One S, all digital shell with the innards of an Xbox Series S.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Two different form factors.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Xbox. I mean, look at the PlayStation 5.
It's the same
right?
thing. Yeah.
It looks the same. It's just diskless. It's just no disc. Diskless version. It's just on the side, that little pocket on the side, but it looks the same. It's the same form factor. This would be, I can't imagine. I mean, this would be the first in gaming history where we get sort of like two systems of sort of the same innards, just two different form factors. That would be kind of weird. I don't know. They should make it different enough. I'm sorry. I like the GameCube little small mock-up that we see online. I hope that's real. I hope this isn't real.
That's what I thought it was. Yeah, that's what I think it's going to be too. But maybe not. Maybe not.
Well, let's shift gears to Sony. Again, they had the floor. They've been quiet for so long, and then they just come out like gangbusters last month with their presentation, next gen presentation, and they sort of taken up the lead again, right? Like everyone's talking about the PlayStation 5. We know what it looks like. We know the games that are in the works. People are excited about it, and it looks like they're going back to their roots. Looks like Sony is, doing a big push for indie games with their indie game initiative, with PlayStation Indie, right? So and branding is everything, and they got PlayStation Studios and PlayStation Indie, where they're making a big push to showcase and support the best indie games on the platform.
Right.
And I think this is the same move they did when the PS4, right? Like when they made that big push to PS4.
Yeah, it's the same move they did and then completely abandoned right away.
Well, they abandoned it maybe 3 years later.
That's giving them a little credit, but okay.
No, there's no credit. They gave it a big push for the first 3 years at E3, the first 3 E3s of PS4's life cycle.
And then they're like,
and then they just said, we're focusing on these big 4 games that are coming.
Big budget AAA. Yeah, which is weird because Nintendo saw the opportunity and were like, you guys can come over here. It's all good. And Nintendo is now like the indie play space or everything goes to. So I like that they're recommitted. Hopefully this isn't another flash in the pan and they keep with it. I'd like to see dedicated store space that has, here's some indie highlights, discounts on indie games in the mix in the free games you get with PlayStation Plus. That would, kind of go a long way to me.
Well, in fairness, the Vita, something else that they gave up on. So they took up the mantle as the indie game darling, where everyone put their games on the Vita, and that kept the Vita alive. And then it sort of transitioned from the Vita to the Switch because the Switch was the new hottest thing that was selling like gangbusters. You hear, as a side note, you hear that EA sound like gangbusters? You should have been in day 1 or at least day 2. So I like this. They're doubling down on indie games. I think we're going to see a lot of state of plays that showcases indie games, and more importantly, I think they're doubling down on indie games for the VR support as well. I mean, when they do that big push for PSVR 2, they're gonna need the support of indie game developers who make indie game experiences for the VR to give you something to play. Why am I spending another $400? Which is probably how much it's going to cost when it first comes out, the new PSVR 2, right? It's going to be wireless. I'm crossing my fingers for that.
Well, I hope so, yeah.
You're going to be able to play all these new indie games or indie experiences that are going to come out. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of next gen, it looks like all our fears are coming true. It looks like next gen games are going to be just a little bit more expensive than current gen. Or for the last 15 years, right?
Yeah, I heard about this.
So since the beginning of the Xbox 360, games have been $60, and we sort of fell into this comfort zone of $60 for 15 years. But it looks like a new listing for NBA 2K21 shows that the current gen games are still $60, $59.99, PS4 and Xbox One version. But if you want to buy a PS5 or an Xbox Series X version, it will cost you $69.99. So it was bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, last time this happened was with the 360. It went from $50 to $60 during that 7th generation. So we've had 2 generations of $60. It's been $60 across the board for a big budget title game. Yeah, you're right. It is. I think about time. It is about time. Production costs are obviously on the rise. It takes a lot to put these games out, especially the big AAA games. So I wouldn't be surprised if all games are $70 across the board. Well,
hey, you want these big open world experiences. You want to be able to go to the desert in Cyberpunk.
That's exactly right.
It's going to cost you more money.
That's exactly right. So
too bad Cyberpunk's not coming out for the Switch. Maybe hopefully it'll come out for the Super Switch. I'm telling you, it's going to be the Super Switch. I'm hoping.
Are you?
I'm hoping.
It's not gonna be
the Super Switch.
It's not because they didn't do it with the light switch. So why would they call it the Super Switch?
Stop! You're just salty that they didn't put the light in front of Switch.
I'm not salty. It's their missed opportunity. All right. Come on now, the light switch, that would have been perfect.
Yeah, well, the Super Switch, right? So you got the Switch Lite, and watch, they're gonna come out and call it the Switch Super.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is gonna flip it around and be like, this is fine. You guys are gonna buy it anyway.
Well, if you have a Switch, A lot of people have sort of had Joy-Con drift issues. I haven't experienced any of that.
Oh,
but
I have one on one of my original gray Joy-Cons, yeah.
But a lot of people have. And Nintendo has sort of come out with a formal apology for the Joy-Con drift issues. Not that they're taking any blame for it, and by any means. They're not taking any blame for it, but because they're in the middle, they can't really comment on it because they're in the middle of a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit against them. So while that's going on, they can't really talk about it. However, they have apologized for that situation, right? That people have experiencing issues with it. And they've been replacing and fixing Joy-Cons for free in the US and Japan. Some odd reason in the UK you have to pay like $10 or something along those lines.
Right.
So, but it just kind of surprising that they issue an apology. And I'm sure they don't, it's a heartfelt apology. They just can't do anything right now because of the class action lawsuit.
I suppose. I mean, I honestly think like when this kind of whole thing went down, like they said they would fix the Joy-Cons, and why not just across the board? You have any problems? Send it in. We'll fix it, and that'll be that, right? Make it a timely turnaround, right? Because you give up the Joy-Cons, you don't have any things to play with. I would say do that if they were like truly sorry about it. Like, you're right, they're in the middle of this lawsuit right now, so they can't really say what they want to say if they want to say anything more than what they're saying, if that makes sense, right? Because they don't want to like speak out of court and then, well, now you're on the hook, right? So they're in this battle for a reason. They want to end up saving money and whatever. So I'd say just fix the damn things across the board. I don't know.
Well, lastly, let's finish up with Nintendo. We had the Sony event in June. We know we're getting the Xbox event this month, but it looks like all the rumors are that Nintendo will do a direct in July. Now that we're getting rumors, right? Usually when we start to get rumors, we start to hear little things. That means there's something to it, and we're gonna get a direct soon. I hope we don't get a direct in July. I hope we get it in August. Listen, Sony had June.
Why? Yeah.
Sony had June, right? And it sort of dominated and hyped everyone up. Xbox is gonna bring it hard in July. Give them that market share. Give them that space. Just like let Microsoft have July. We're gonna be talking about it, hyped next gen, and then come in August. Maybe the first week of August, second week of August, and have the direct so we can all get hyped about Metroid Prime 4 or Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 or Metroid Prime Trilogy coming out, right? So if we're going to spread it out, then just spread it out completely. Like, I don't want to overshadow what Microsoft is about to do if 2 days later we get a Nintendo Direct. So I say spread it out a little bit. Let's shift it. Not to mention, every time we get a rumor, the rumor itself is never like correct, right? It's not like, we get, if it says we're gonna get a direct next Tuesday, it's never like, we got it next Tuesday. Probably get it the following Tuesday. So we're probably of all the rumors are saying July, we're probably gonna get it in August. Who knows? Or so late in July, it might as well be August.
Right. Well, I mean, Microsoft is doing stuff this month and next month, but, I don't think the August stuff is going to be as big. It'll probably be the S, right? The S console, and if they haven't released the price, maybe we'll get the price, which would be big. But I think you're right. Let Nintendo have their day or week or month or whatever it is, right? Give them a little kind of space to like, here's all the stuff. Here's your Metroid Prime 4. Here's your Metroid Prime Trilogy. Here's your new Mario Odyssey 2, your new Zelda, like, all that stuff.
I'm just saying spread it out. This is why I like E3, because again, we had like two conventions sort of like go back to back, like overlapped over a day. It was like the Gorilla event and like Games Radar had like sort of an event. There were events everywhere.
Right.
And they were just all over the place, and it was hard to keep track, hard to keep up. And I like it when we have E3 because then we know
Everything's scheduled. Here's when it's going to be. Yeah.
Everything is going to be scheduled. No one's going to overlap anyone else. And we know it's going to be between these 5 days. Mm-hmm. So I kind of think I was wrong. I thought this would show that we didn't need the ESRB, but I think it shows that we do need them. We may not need exactly E3 as we knew it, but we need a version of that to go forward.
Sure, you need somebody to kind of organize the thing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just not for like tens of millions of dollars like they want you to pay.
Jesus.
Maybe at a discounted rate.
Oof. Well, on that note, on that very expensive note, that is episode 225. That is in the books, folks, and we want to thank you guys immensely for listening to the show and doing all the good stuff that you guys do. And if you want to interact with us, and we know you do, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon at Rated G for Gamers. And also, we are part of the Gaming Podcast Alliance. Check out all of the fine podcasts featured on there if you're looking for more gaming goodness at gamingpodcastalliance.com. So, please listen, like, rate, review, and subscribe. And as always,
keep gaming.